She insulted Caitlin Clark, and what followed was unforgettable. From the moment the opening tip went up, it was clear this wasn't just another regular season game. Something personal was brewing beneath the surface. Words had already been exchanged before the night even began, and now all eyes were on the court to see how Clark would respond. The Indiana Fever hosted the Chicago Sky in what was billed as a marquee early-season matchup, but the energy inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse made it feel like a playoff showdown. This was more than just hype. It was tension, rivalry, and two rising stars meeting under a spotlight neither could avoid. Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese. One looking to lead her team with precision and fire, the other stepping onto the court with something to prove. Chicago started with Camila Cardoso, Angel Reese, Kia Nurse, Ariel Atkins, and Courtney Vandersloot, while Indiana countered with Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, Dana Bonner, Natasha Howard, and Aaliyah Boston, a lineup built on balance, speed, and grit. From the first whistle, every possession carried weight. Screens hit harder, fouls felt heavier, and even missed shots echoed louder. The atmosphere was electric. Chicago set a physical tone early, going right to Cardoso for a composed finish to draw first blood. Clark answered immediately, attacking. Off the pick and roll, absorbing contact and calmly sinking both free throws. No reaction, just focus. The Fever kept pressing from there. The momentum continued as Dana Bonner dumped a pass down low to Natasha Howard, who had sealed off her defender and finished cleanly. Angel Reese responded by sizing up her defender near the top of the key, using an in-and-out move to power her way to the rim for a tough finish, a clear message. But Caitlin Clark answered right back, pulling up from far beyond the arc and drilling a deep three that made the entire crowd lean forward. The energy instantly shifted. Kelsey Mitchell fed off that spark, weaving through defenders in transition and finishing through contact. Chicago quickly responded with another inside bucket from Reese, who had again established position near the rim. Then Aaliyah Boston provided a defensive spark, timing her jump perfectly to swat away a shot, her 100th career block, earning a loud ovation from the home crowd. Mitchell then caught fire from deep, knocking down back-to-back threes after being left unguarded on the perimeter, punishing Chicago's slow rotations. As the quarter wound down, Mitchell isolated Angel Reese, used a sharp crossover and hesitation move to draw a foul, and hit one of two at the line. By the end of the first quarter, Indiana led 22-7. But more importantly, they were dictating the tempo, physicality, and momentum. Rachel Banham opened the second quarter with a wide-open three to give Chicago a much-needed spark, capitalizing on a defensive lapse. But Lexi Hull answered immediately, grabbing an offensive rebound after a missed layup and scoring through traffic, a hustle play that energized her team. On the next possession, Hull cut backdoor in transition, and Clark found her with a perfect bounce pass for another easy layup, showing Indiana's precision and chemistry. Angel Reese responded with a three from the top of the arc, confidently knocking it down and offering Chicago a glimmer of hope. That hope was short-lived as Dana Bonner picked off a lazy crossover near the three-point line and took it coast to coast for a layup, a solo defensive play that thrilled the crowd and deflated the sky. Clark followed with one of her smoothest moves of the night, coming off a sideline out-of-bounds set, taking a handoff at full speed, stopping on a dime above the free throw line, and sinking a tough mid-range jumper. Chicago tried to stay within reach with a well-executed pick and roll as Cardoso slipped into open space and nailed the short jumper. Still, Indiana's offense kept flowing. Clark and Boston executed a flawless pick and pop for a soft jumper, then ran it again. This time, Boston faked the handoff, drawing both defenders toward Clark and driving untouched to the rim for a layup. Rebecca Allen tried to shift momentum with a tough sideways floater, but Indiana had the final word. With the clock winding down, Clark calmly walked the ball up, came off a double screen, and launched a deep three from well beyond the arc. As the buzzer sounded, the ball dropped clean through the net. At halftime, Indiana had all the momentum and complete control. Indiana led 45-32, and it wasn't just a lead, it was dominance. Chicago wasn't just trailing, they were chasing shadows. Halftime came and went, but the tension never left the building. The crowd buzzed as the players returned to the court, and Indiana wasted no time re-establishing their rhythm. Kelsey Mitchell attacked a closeout, drove hard, and found Natasha Howard cutting behind the defense for a clean assist and an even cleaner finish. Angel Reese responded with a strong move of her own, sealing her defender deep in the paint, taking the feed and finishing through contact. A gritty play Chicago desperately needed more of. But Indiana's offense kept humming. Caitlin Clark orchestrated a pick and roll with Howard, drawing the defense and threading a perfect bounce pass for another layup. The Sky tried to answer as Courtney Vandersloot swung the ball to Ariel Atkins, who drilled a smooth three to close the gap slightly. Clark came right back with a pick and pop with Aaliyah Boston, who popped out, saw an open lane, and drove in for a banked layup. A few possessions later, after a broken handoff, Camila Cardoso took matters into her own hands, driving to the rim and scoring. Messy but effective. Then Clark turned isolation into art. A jab step, a slick sidestep, and a pull-up jumper from just inside the arc that barely grazed the rim, pushing her total to 15 points and lighting up the crowd once again. But the most emotional moment of the game came beneath the basket. During a rebound battle, Angel Reese gave Natasha Howard a clear shove. Clark stepped in to commit the foul and protect her teammate, prompting Reese to get in Clark's face. Clark didn't flinch. No words, no theatrics, just a cold stare before walking away. The referees issued double technicals, one to Reese, one to Boston, and assessed a flagrant one on Indiana. But the Fever's real response came on the next. Possession, when Clark calmly ran the offense, found Boston wide open at the top of the arc and watched her bury the three. The crowd erupted. Clark simply nodded. Another assist. Moments later, she dropped a no-look dime to Boston under the rim for another bucket. Lexi Hull then followed her own miss with a strong putback as the quarter closed, and Indiana held, a commanding 20-point lead. The Sky looked stunned. The Fever looked unfazed. Clark wasn't just running the offense, she was running the entire game. Chicago tried to start the fourth with a spark as Atkins hit a soft jumper in the lane off a quick pass from Cardoso, but Indiana responded instantly. Clark pushed the ball up the floor, found Bonner slashing to the hoop, and delivered yet another assist. Rachel Banham hit a pull-up off the pick and roll, but it barely made a dent. Then Clark pulled up from 5 feet beyond the arc and buried a deep three, sending the crowd into a frenzy. Mitchell followed with more momentum. The run continued as Kelsey Mitchell scored a fast break layup off another pinpoint pass from Caitlin Clark. Angel Reese responded by breaking loose in transition for a layup over Clark after a feed from Courtney Vandersloot, but the Fever remained composed. Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston then executed a flawless two-player action from the baseline, with Boston floating in an easy bucket. Clark followed that by taking a switch, stepping back, and drilling another deep jumper, her 20th point of the night. With enough rebounds and assists already secured, her triple-double was official. Boston then made a defensive statement, swatting away 3 consecutive shot attempts in a single possession, ending in a jump ball that drew one of the loudest roars of the night. Rachel Banham answered briefly with a step-back 3 over Clark, but it was far too late. The gap was too wide, and the momentum was long gone. Then came a piece of WNBA history. Dana Bonner stepped to the free throw line, sank 2 shots, and moved into 3rd place on the league's all-time scoring list. Her teammates celebrated, the crowd erupted, and the moment felt perfectly fitting, on a night already full of them. Michaela Timpson added the final basket off a pass from Brianna Turner, and as the clock ran out, the scoreboard read 93-58. Caitlin Clark didn't talk back, point fingers, or respond with trash talk. She answered in the most commanding way possible. by finishing with 20 points, 10 rebounds, and 10 assists. She dictated the game's tempo, lifted her teammates with every possession, and met every challenge with poise and flawless execution. Angel Reese showed grit, battling inside all night and grabbing 17 rebounds, but her presence wasn't enough to slow down a Fever team that was locked in from the opening tip. And when Reese stepped into Clark's space during a heated third-quarter moment, it looked like things might boil over. But Clark didn't flinch. She didn't respond emotionally. She responded by completely taking over the game, watching. From the sideline, Indiana Pacers star Tyrese Halliburton saw it all. Every sharp pass, every deep three, every defensive stand, and understood the message. This wasn't just a win, it was a statement. Someone tried to rattle Caitlin Clark. Instead, they ignited the very storm they hoped to silence. Because when the lights are bright and the pressure is loud, Clark doesn't fold. She focuses, locks in, and lets her game do the talking. And on this night, her game said everything. She heard the noise, she remembered the comments, and she responded with the only voice that matters, her play. The league has been put on notice, and the response is only just beginning.